What we heard, superintendent listening session feedback. In fall 2017, Superintendent Thompson held 20 listening sessions throughout the community and collected feedback online, seeking input from district stakeholders on 4 questions. What is the district doing well? What areas present the greatest challenge for the district? What needs to be in place in order for the district to move forward? How can we best communicate with you to promote open and transparent district culture? The purpose of tonight's report will be to share highlights of the listening session feedback with the board. This item is for the board's information and discussion.
Welcome to the table.
Wow. Good evening on the other side. How are you? All right. I'm going to ask that, as we're moving through, Dr. Mike is going to be passing out some documents that you will need to be able to kind of maneuver. So if you can make some space there for these big pieces of paper there. And I'll wait till everyone has their documents before I begin.
Before we get started, do you want to take questions as we get them, or do you want to wait till the end?
You're the boss.
I know I'm the boss, but I'm asking you, boss.
It's fine. However, I'm just kidding with Mr. Rhodey. But however you guys want, if we're moving along and you want to ask questions as we move along, that'll be fine. But at the end, I do have a slide that says questions. Okay. So if you want to wait till the end, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So I'll just keep my eye on you, and if you need me to pause as we move along, I'll be happy to do so. So we can do both. All right. You have 2 documents in front of you. I'm just going to kind of tell you exactly what these documents are before we begin. One of the documents that you have, this big, large piece there, we actually have taken the 3 questions about what's going well, some challenges, some objectives, things that we would like to accomplish, and then the way that we communicate. Those are the 4 questions that you all ask at the listening sessions. And we actually have taken a lot of the verbiage and we've placed those answers that people have given around each of the questions. We've typed them here. So you'll see pages and pages of comments that people made around each one of those particular questions. Okay, so I wanted you to make sure that you have this. This is a summary of it, because what I want you to pay attention to next is this document that looks like this. There you go. Inside of it, you will see a document that looks like this, okay? And I'm telling you, this is a little bit more about some of the feedback that was given. So you had about approximately 4,000 cells of data that we received through the listening sessions. We had the summary by comments, which is what you have on the larger documents. And we have a listening session report, and we will talk about that as we move along. And we're here today because we are getting ready to do a presentation to you about the listening session. And for anyone that's listening to us and all of the board members, if you would like to see verbatim, word for word, everything that was typed up, you can go to www.usd259.org/superintendent entry plan. And you're able to read every word that was collected during the listening sessions, okay? So these are the materials and the documents that you have available in front of you as we move into our presentation. And as we know, we started this journey a little while ago. At the beginning of the fall, we kicked off our listening sessions, and it is essential tonight that we provide feedback to you as we move from listening and learning to what everyone has said, and as we begin to plan. By their attendance, I know that our community cares about the Wichita Public Schools. It was very evident by the participation, and we recognize and they recognize that Wichita is important to us because we reached out and we wanted to have the opportunity to listen. And we know that Wichita thinks that we are important by the attendance that we had. One of the 4 pillars in the superintendent's entry plan, again, was to listen and to learn, and we were committed to doing that. And tonight, the purpose of this meeting is to share what we learned from our stakeholders. As you noticed, we listened a lot. We had 20 stakeholder meetings with students, staff, parents, and invested citizens. We had numerous personal conversations with the business leaders, some faith and community leaders that wanted that individualized attention. We accommodated that as well. We had online feedback for those who were not able to attend one of the listening sessions. And we had our first ever WPS Twitter town hall meeting. So that was pretty fun. We've had thousands of invested stakeholders that have taken part in the conversations that we had this fall. So now what I'm going to do is take you through and kind of give you a little bit of flavor of what we kind of heard in some of the sessions. So when we talked about what we learned about the things that people felt like we were doing well, one of the things that popped out quite a bit was our opportunities and choices for students, such as IB, the magnets, AP, all of our extracurricular activities. Those were very, very strong themes that came out about some things that we are doing very well. We also had some pretty positive about our communication, talked about a lot of transparency, how people are open. They had lots of positive stories about Parent Link and social media and things of that nature as it relates to how we communicate as a district to our families. I also kind of want to lift out teachers. I thought it was very good that our families really value and think that our teachers really care about their students, and they're very excited about the teachers that we have within our school district. Some other key things that popped out was AVID. AVID was very strong. Some comments that their son and daughters have participated in AVID and their learning strategies that would help them to be successful as they go to their future in higher learning. Diversity. People were very, very excited about the diversity and the opportunities to be exposed to a variety of cultures and a variety of experiences within the school district. The other two things that popped out was safety and security. Safety procedures are well thought out and carried out with students put first, and those were comments that were made from some of our stakeholders in the listening sessions. And Cheryl, as you were commenting about CTE, that also was something that we said, and as people in the listening session said, we're going really, really well, was our CTE and our career tech ed programs within the district. And as you can see, there's quite a few others in the grid that you see on the screen. And so I'll give you just an opportunity just to kind of process some of the others. Okay. We also have some challenges that also, as we ask that second question, what are some of the challenges in the district that we have? One of the number one things that kind of came up was the trauma and the behavior and the discipline that we have within our schools. That we had some comments that talked about that we needed to make sure that we had some opportunities for those students to get the support through counseling and through social work to be able to support students with the trauma that they're experiencing in classrooms. One of the other challenges that people talked a lot that was very strong was the funding that we have within the school district. Not enough funding from the state level or the federal levels to be able to do the things that we would want to do. Some of the decisions, some of the comments were that you shorten the school year and that's not good for students, and losing those 15 days of instruction was a huge disadvantage to every kid of every age, and that was a comment that was made. One of the other things that was heavily mentioned was the recruitment and retention and compensation of our teachers. It was very clear to our staff, that they haven't had raises in years, and that it was difficult for them to provide for their families. And so some of them were talking about taking on second jobs, and so that was very much of a concern for staff as they began to talk about recruitment, retention, and compensation. We also know that one of the areas that also came up was special education issues, and talking about the inclusion and too many learning levels all in one classroom, and having the ability to be able to differentiate the instruction in the appropriate way, and more professional development around that was very heavy for teachers. Also, very strong was closing the achievement gap. The differences between the performance levels of different groups within the schools. And so that was something that was also very prevalent in the feedback. And also, as our president of our UTW, workload was also an issue mentioned on a regular basis in some of our listening sessions. And we'll talk more about that later as we move forward. Changing culture through communication. When we asked that question about what can we do to better communicate with our community, there were some things that came out that were pretty loud and clear as well. One of the things that parents really appreciate was our ways in which we communicate. We have a variety of ways. They thought that, Parent Link, we do emails, we do phone calls, we do text, you have Parent View, we have our website. So parents felt like there was a multitude of ways in which we were able to communicate with them. But one of the things, of the options that they kind of lifted out, was the face-to-face listening sessions, like the meetings that we had during the listening sessions. Families kind of had a notion that this is kind of cool. We think we might want this on a regular basis. And so that was very clear in some of the data that we were able to pull out. Social media was very prevalent. They are very excited about the new, we've always had it, but all of a sudden everybody now notices our social media through Facebook and Twitter. They're very, very active on that particular site, and that was pretty much celebrated. Some of the things that we know that we need to think about is teachers sometimes want to know the why. When we come and we bring lots of things to people, and sometimes people really don't know why we're doing it. But if they understood why we were doing some of the things, it wouldn't, they would feel a lot better about moving forward with some of the things that we wanted to do. The parents also mentioned better school parent communication. And they talked a little bit, even though we had all these ways in which we do communicate, they always were thinking about what other ways can we make sure that we meet parents where they are and make sure that we have more opportunities for people who may not have technology or may not have those means to be able to communicate. What are some other ways to do that? And so, again, communication, on the other hand, we had lots of good ways in which we communicate, but again, with communication in anything we do, we always need to strive to try to continue to create different ways in which we communicate and reach all of the folks that we serve. And so that was pretty much that particular area. So the last portion is when we talk to them about moving forward, what is the things that we need to be doing as a district? What are their hopes and dreams for us as we move forward? And so what they said was, and this is pretty interesting here, and this was very, very clear as you read through all of your documents too, to challenge all learners. And if you see the things that are in the red, those are kind of those big overarching themes that you begin to hear. So challenge all learners to succeed with the focus not just on college, but on career readiness as well. So we heard very clear, not all of our kids will go to college, and that's fine, but we want you to prepare them to be ready to go, but we also want you to make sure that they have an option and a choice to choose to go into a career. Like Ms. Logan, like you asked them, how many of you have certificates that are able to take you now to a job? Those are the things that kids want and parents want as options and choices for their families. By supporting that whole child, not just focusing on academics, but also want us to make sure that we're focusing in those soft skills that our employers want. So we heard that from our employers as well as our families. And investing in our staff, that was another key piece there moving forward. And engaging families and the community as essential partners in education. They want to be more engaged and be more partner with us as we move forward, and communicating to build trust and aligning our resources and our infrastructure to support student success. And so those are some of the comments and the themes that continue to emerge through all of the data that has been collected. And again, if anybody's interested in reading every word to see if what we've said before is available to you on www.usd259.org at the Superintendent Entry Plan. And I'll keep saying that because we do have people that watch our live feeds, and I want to, not our live feeds, but that our meetings, and I want to make sure that people know that that's available for them to see, and we want to be transparent with what we heard at the listening sessions. All right. So some key areas that I highlighted that were in that red, we're going to kind of pull and kind of unpack that a little bit more. So when we talk about challenges for all learners to succeed, we have there on the slide, you'll see some of the comments that community members, students, or parents made around these particular kind of like themes that are starting to come out here. And I'm going to do some key focus areas around this particular area. One of the things that kind of came out was accountability for performance. There was a lot of talk about closing those achievement gaps. That early literacy around third grade, again, continues to come out for us as focus areas. A lot of conversations around increasing graduation rates, providing rigorous curriculum and instruction for our students, and greater support for kids with exceptional needs, and providing meaningful professional development. So all of those things became kind of little key sub-areas underneath challenge all students to succeed. And those are some comments, and as you read through, you'll be able to identify more of those, and we just listed a few there. College and career readiness. We also have some key areas within this particular area that kind of came out, which is to strengthen our career pathways. While they were being celebrated and we have lots of variety of choices and opportunities for our kids, we want to make sure that they are in alignment with what community is looking at and what are the needs for employment in our community. So we need to take a look at those pathways and to strengthen those and to make some decisions about where we move there. Again, not our parents, the theme again coming out, not just focusing in on college, but also on careers. So the college and career theme just continues to resonate with people in our community and in our schools. Again, one of our key areas over and over, celebrating our choices and opportunities in our programs and in our schools. That is very, very huge for our district, and we need to make sure that we keep that on the forefront of our decision-making as we move forward. Expanding our mentorship. So while our kids are in these CTE programs, we want to expand our mentorships and internships with our businesses so that we can send our kids out to get more hands-on opportunities as they move forward with career and technical ed. We also had an opportunity to talk more about STEAM and STEM exploration. That was pretty strong in our comments as well. In the area of support the whole child, there's lots of comments there. You can read through those, but the gist of this was pretty cool. Safe and orderly schools, very strong for us. We need to make sure that we continue to keep focus on that. Behavior supports were some areas in which we need to begin to look at how we support students, with trauma-informed being the major focus. Investing in our staff. In that particular area, there's comments there on the screen, but one of the key areas of focus would be to elevate the morale in our district, to develop and support leaders. People want opportunities to grow and become leaders within our school district, and we need to have opportunities for pipelines for those things to happen. To recruit and retain quality staff, creating a positive work environment for our students and staff and our families, and to communicate effectively with staff. Again, communication was a high, but it also is always there, needing ways to improve that. Listen to our employees was on there as investing in our staff, and we need to find ways in order to have opportunities for us to have that dialogue and conversations more frequently, and to focus in on compensation. So those were areas in the invest in staff that kind of resonated or lifted out more time speaking of those kinds of things. Engaging in our family and community is another area that came out very loud and clear. Again, communication is key. Again, communication is key, and that's something that was a strength, but also an area in which we need to continue to work on. And having meaningful community involvement, such as those listening sessions and being out involved with our community. Strategic partnerships, customer service came out as a pretty large piece for us to make sure that we have good customer service as well as family engagement. So I'm going to kind of, again, talk about communicate and building trust. That was a pretty strong like I said, communication was strong, but it also continues to kind of be that little nag a little bit that we've just not yet arrived to the levels in which we want to. And so we also know that when you communicate well and you have those kinds of opportunities to have face-to-face, you build trust with people. And so what we hear is while it's great to have parent link, emails, phone calls, websites, even videos, and those kinds of things, there are two things that stand out in this particular area, which is the face-to-face and also school visits and being visible inside of our schools and in their activities that they have at schools. So that was something that kind of takes us to that next level when it comes to communicating and being part of a unit together and building relationships with the people in the field. And we have aligning resources in our infrastructure. Lots of conversation about that budget thing there, that keeps just nagging at us too. But we talked a little bit, and as they gathered the information, one of the things that they talked about was adequate resources to the classroom. That was a pretty big theme amongst staff, getting those resources. Aligned financial resources to goals and objectives. That was very loud and clear. Calendar to support student learning was really much at every listening session. You heard that, and I think you guys have really answered that for them with the on the agenda today. There is a proposed calendar there, so we'll be working on that. And well-maintained facilities, wanting to make sure that the resources and things continue to make sure that what has been invested in this district, that we protect it by maintaining those facilities. And also technology was a very strong theme, being innovative and having all of the technology resources and buildings to be able to be innovative. So now we've listened, we've learned, and now it is time for us to begin planning. We have a journey to go together, you guys, to get this accomplished. We have a lot of work still to do. So we have a plan. So we have developed this timeline here. If you will take a look, we've started our listening and analysis of our data there. We are now in the development and planning stages. In April through May, we will begin to do year one initiatives. We'll have all those things ready around in April, and through June of 2018 to June of 2023, we will be implementing and evaluating and doing annual updates all along the journey. But I do want to make note to a couple of dates. So this is for community who's listening, and this is also for board members. On February 20th, there will be a BOE workshop focused on building your shared beliefs, vision, and mission work. On March 5th, we will have a workshop with the board focused on long-term goals and strategic themes. On April the 9th, the board will approve of the work that they've done on the February 20th and March the 5th work. They will approve their shared beliefs, the vision, the mission, long-term goals, and your strategic themes. And then in June, you and I and all of our staff will be so excited to roll out our strategic plan, including the objectives and strategic initiatives for year 1. And again, once we have all these things done, we will have annual updates and ongoing communication with our district stakeholders. And all of this information on this will be on our website, and again, under www.259.org/superintendent plan, entry plan, and all of the information and anything you would want to know about this work will be placed there. I am now going to take you back to this particular document here. We've listened, we've learned. And again, this is your listening session report, your 4 pages there. So you see there, we heard that our district should, and we've already concentrated on that, challenge all learners to succeed and focus on college and career readiness. We heard to accomplish those outcomes, we will need to support the whole child. We talked about that. Invest in staff, engage parents and community as partners, and align resources and infrastructure. So as you can see, we just kind of put a summary of the report in this type of a document as well for you as you continue to peruse through all of these lovely documents and all of these wonderful words that were shared with us through our listening sessions from our stakeholders. Now I will open it up for any questions that you may have.
Our first one's from Cheryl.
All right.
Hey, this is
Hey.
great. Thank you. I kept thinking, how in the world are you going to get 40,000 entries, or how many ever you got, a bunch, down into something that was a bit more manageable? And I think you've managed to do that, so thank you very much.
It's been a task, but it's
Yeah,
been
if you can do
good.
that, we can develop a strategic plan easy.
That's exactly right.
Okay, this is very, very good, because we really are paying attention to what people are telling us, and that's exactly where, as a board, I know we all want to be. Just a couple of quick things. One, the website, because you kept saying it was superintendent, but it looks like it's super enter plan.
Yeah. SUPERENTRY plan.
So it's super
Super
entry
entry plan.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that that was right, because I want to go in there and
After I
look
done
at
said it
So-
15 times, I should get it right, huh?
And you, as you were going through this with the overall arching themes, you kind of had a list of other things that were supporting that. Like, for example, under the challenge for learners, it was accountability and class graduation rates and so on. Would it be possible for us to get that list so that we have that as documentation with this too, so that we can kind of see
Absolutely.
the other pieces?
Absolutely.
Because I think that's kind of where a lot of our work may be happening, is trying to make sure we get all those things built into vision and mission and
Yes,
so on.
ma'am.
So-
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great job. Thank you very much. This
Thank
is, couldn't ask for it to be better as a start, so thanks.
Thank you.
Ron?
Yeah, Dr. Thompson, I was wanting to find out, what is our current enrollment at some of the colleges for teachers? Because you had mentioned about recruiting. Do you know, like, Friends and Newman and WSU, what does their numbers look like for?
We do have some numbers. I don't know if we have them off the top of our heads to
Okay.
say inaccurate information about our universities, but yes, we do keep track of that, and we know. So we
Okay.
can definitely get that to you.
Because I had heard it was getting low, and I'm just thinking, where are we gonna recruit from?
We can say yes to that. It is
Okay.
getting low.
All right, okay. And what was that website again?
Super entry plan.
Keep going. All right, thank you.
Ben?
Yes, Dr. Thompson, I was noticed on like communication, and I was thinking, and maybe this is a request, so I filled out a request form, but I was thinking maybe we should look at having like a BOE committee of the whole or a workshop at an alternate location in the district, maybe. I'm not sure who would gather that information to decide that.
So tell me what you're asking. You're asking to have the committee of the whole away from this particular building and having it someplace else?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a future one, not a particular one, just something kind of like a road show almost, just to get maybe a different audience than we normally see here. I don't know if that has to be submitted and voted on, or,
Oh, we could probably have one at Northwest pretty easy.
That's a good request. We could put that in as.
No, I think that's something that we can look at doing. We can look at the calendar next week at the committee meeting and see what we want to do and set something up. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Be fine.
Okay.
Whatever. We're easy.
cool, thanks.
Well, you did a good job because nobody else wants to ask you a question.
Oh, man.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
You're welcome.
And I
Thank you.
appreciate, this is great. I think this is going to take us to the next step that we need to do with the district.
As you know, I'm not very coordinated, so I had to have Dr. Irvin kind of.
So we're looking forward to it. Hold on.
I just want to say, you must have been a teacher. This is so well done. It's very organized. Thank you.